So I'm going to move on to like my face palettes, my blushes, my highlighters, and then I'm going to do bronzers and contours after that. So I'm going to start with face palettes. So first off, I'm going to talk about the JACLYN Winter Sun face palette. I actually really enjoyed having this. I especially really like this highlighter here. And I really like mixing these two. They're surprisingly subtle. Now, she calls this a cream to powder. Lie. It's totally just powder. There's so much kickback, really pretty finish. Everything in here has just a nice subtle gleam to it. Super pretty. And then next, I'm going to talk about this more later as well, but when I go into her single stuff, but the Pat McGrath blush and highlighter trio is absolutely one of the best ways to get your hands on Pat McGrath blush and highlighter and save a little bit of money in the process. These are smaller, and so it's cheaper, especially when if it ever goes on sale. So this is Galactic Sun. I don't think you can get it anymore, but if she ever releases more trios like this, absolutely consider getting this if you've wanted to try the formula but don't want to spend money on a full-size blush and a full-size highlighter because she is expensive. Love the formula of all of these. Really pretty. And then I'm going to talk about the Fenty Beauty Diamond Bomb Triple Drip. I love the Diamond Bomb and How Many Carats, so I went ahead and got this when it went on sale. It was like 30% off, and honestly I'm kind of disappointed. I don't think it's as good as her single Diamond Bombs, so that's kind of my opinion on that. I've barely used it because it just didn't stand out to me. I thought maybe if I didn't like it on my face, I'd use it as eyeshadow toppers, but like honestly, if you have fractal freesia, then like whatever. I just have it at this point for collector's purposes. Alright, next I'm going to talk about the Moon Prism Blush Palette. I really like this. I don't use it that often because the shades are a little bit more like Western appeal, American appeal, like kind of more Western colors. So I don't use this as often as I like would otherwise, but the formula is really pretty, and after getting my hands on this, I definitely really want the new one. I think the new one is going to have way more fun colors that I would like to use. So getting this was really nice for me to really realize how much I love his blush formula. Also, the packaging is so pretty, so I could never get rid of it just for that. But I will say, if you like these kinds of colors, the formula is A+, solid, and really pretty. So this, you can't go wrong with this. I did buy on Black Friday last year both Odin's Eyes highlighter quads. I love these both. I keep these around purely for if I ever need colorful highlighters. Particularly, I end up using this blue one a lot, and it's really pretty. These are a little bit more on the metallic side, aside from this one shade here, which is kind of more glittery and really pretty in its own right. I think this one is better. I would recommend this one more over the Solmane one just because it's more colorful. So it kind of has a niche that other highlighter palettes do not. There's a little more competition in your makeup collection for something like this. So I think this one is more unique, and I would recommend this one, but they both are really good and I enjoy both. And then I'm going to talk about the PIXI one. This one is honestly super bad, and I only have it because it has Hello Kitty on it, so just FYI. And then lastly, I do have the Hourglass Universe Lighting Edit. So it's the lighter one. I do have this one. I think it's okay. This is probably the worst one of all the face palettes that they've released. I will say the powder is actually really pretty as a highlighter, and I do really like this shade here. It's really nice, and this blush shade is pretty unique, but I think this is the worst one. I do believe it's on sale now, but honestly I have a hard time recommending it even then. I have Sculpture, and I have, I think I have Ghost or something like that, and I think those both are like way better. And then the KALEIDOS Charisma Contour. I love this so much. I wish I had the light and cool one, but that's been out of stock for what feels like years and decades and centuries, and I don't know if it'll ever come back, but this is such a solid formula. Because this is the warm and medium one, I really only use this shade right here. This shade is just way too dark, so I really hope they have light and cool so I can get that one and use all three shades. But this is such a good formula. And then this, on the other hand, this is like if you really just, maybe you have like really light skin, maybe you're really pale, or maybe you just really want to make sure you get something you cannot overdo. The Flower Nose Teddy Bear Contour Trio is going to be that for you. The pigment is super light, super blendable. You cannot overdo this. You really can't. So this is like mistake proof, ultimate beginner friendly. And as a plus side, it has cute little teddy bears on the front. It has a very faint chocolatey smell. Very faint though, much more pleasant than Too Faced. And I think that's going to be it for my face palette. So I'm going to move on to single blushes, single bronzers, single highlighters, blah, 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 blah. I know this video is so long. I actually maybe should do quarterly this year because I did try a lot of stuff since Black Friday. So I ended up pulling all of my blushes out. I brain farted, and instead of pulling my blushes, I pulled out my highlighters. So we're just going to do highlighters and then blushes because I'm not putting all this back and then taking it all out again. So I'm going to talk about all the highlighters I've tried ever since pretty much last November, and it's a lot of highlighter, okay? I love highlighter, and I love how many different, like if it shimmers, I like it because it feels like with shimmers there's such a range of finish and sparkle and foil and sheer and shine and glimmer. Like there's so many different ways that you can do it that I just I got so into it, so I have a veritable legion of highlighters. I could march on Wall Street and eat the rich with my army of highlighters. It feels that way. I have so many. But I'm gonna start off with one that I got in a makeup trade. I don't actually think you can get this anymore, but really quick, I just wanted to say this is actually super fun to use. It's surprisingly subtle. It's also really freaking huge, so I mostly got it as I mostly traded makeup for it as a joke because having this just makes me laugh. But yeah, I guess if you have it, you should use it more often. It's actually, it's quite nice. I mean, I actually do use it. Like, I do actually use it, okay? Next, I'm gonna talk about something that disappointed the heck out of me, and that's gonna be the M Cosmetics Sunscape highlighter. Shows all of my texture. Just no. You can get better highlighters than this for the same price, slightly more expensive, slightly cheaper. Like, this was so disappointing to me. In fact, this was so disappointing that I've been on an M Cosmetics break since then. That is how much this highlighter disappointed me, pretty much. Like, aside from like the new blushes, like no, I can't recommend this at all in the slightest. I don't even know why I still have it. I think at this point I just still have it because I'm salty about it. Next, another one that disappointed me is going to be the Essence Pure Nude highlighter. I had heard a lot of really great things about it, but look, this is too dark for me. So I guess if you have a skin tone for this, it is actually, I mean, it's actually really pretty though. Here on the back of my hand, you can see it's actually a very pretty subtle highlighter, and that's why I really wanted it, because it seemed to have a finish I would really like, but it is way too dark. And I looked online and I think this is like the lightest, unless there's a lighter one. Please let me know if there's a lighter one so I can look for it, but I think all the other ones I saw were even darker than this, so I was really sad. So if you're more tan than me, then definitely I think this will be really pretty on you, but unfortunately it didn't work for me. Next, I'm going to talk about the PIXI and Hello Kitty glowy powder in Sweet Glow. Unlike the palette, this is actually super nice. It is that cool pink that is a little tricky for me to work with, but if I have the right makeup look, this as my highlighter really pulls the whole look together, so that's why I have it. I don't use it often, but when I do, it really works, and this is actually a beautiful formula. I wish they had made more shades of this. And it's really cute too, so that helps, right? And then next, I'm going to talk about the CATRICE More Than Glow highlighter in Supreme Rose Beam. Super pretty. This is more of your kind of standard really blinding metallic highlighter, but it's so pretty. And CATRICE, you can't get them in Ulta anymore, but you can get them on Amazon, so this was like $6. Very subtly pink champagne, really pretty. Definitely a little on the generic side, but like it's $6, and so it's super accessible, super great, and it's like, it definitely performs really well. And then next, I'm going to talk about these KALEIDOS highlighters. I have both of the multi-chrome ones, and then I have a couple of their singles. I don't have all of them, but I have 4. And yeah, these are actually super pretty. Now, I will say they come in a range of different finishes. So this one, for instance, Skywalker, is more glittery. This is my favorite one. And then they have another one which is a little bit kind of more like this one. It's a little bit kind of more powdery. Not as good to me. This one's not as good. So this one is like Star Surfer. I would say something like this is not as good, versus if you get the glittery one like Skywalker, is amazing. It feels like a diamond bomb, but like it's more colorful, it's more punchy, just super pretty. Definitely way more unique. So I wish all of the highlighters were in that more glittery formula. I'm not sure why they have 2 different formulas. Next, the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk Multi Glow highlighter. I have Romance Light, which is the lighter one. These apparently, I think these sold out really quick. I don't even know if you can get it anymore, but I love the heck out of this. I think this is so pretty, and it was an impulse buy from Charlotte Tilbury that I actually have 0 regrets about. This is so beautiful, and I love how I can use each individual shade, so I kind of have like a quad in here. Also, the jeweled packaging is so pretty, like the shattered glass kind of look on the top. It just like, I open my drawer and I see it and I feel so happy. And then next is going to be the JACLYN highlighter in Star Power. This is the second darkest highlighter. By the time I wanted to get it and they were on sale, the lightest one was long gone. This is definitely really similar to a Super Shock. However, it's like way shinier than a Super Shock highlighter, like the big ones, obviously. Like, I feel like this is pretty similar in finish to Flexitarian, but it's, I think, even shinier. It's also way smoother than even Flexitarian, so I feel like it's still overpriced considering that Super Shocks exist, but I think you can see why I like it so much. So I do actually really enjoy using this, especially on my eyes. The only reason I don't use Star Power as often as I would want to is because it is really dark, so I can really only use it as like a blusher bronzer topper or like on my eyes. I'm going to bring up the Clinique FOXWAFFLES highlighter in Lunar Pop. I picked this up much later than I picked up the bronzer in COLOURPOP. They were having another 30% off sale, so I wanted to complete my collection. And this is actually super pretty. It's a baked gelée just like any other of their pops, and it is so pretty. It's not super out there, but it's still just, it's so soft. There's nothing particularly stand outy about it, but I think that's what makes it so special, is that it's just so simple and it's so refined and just so basic and beautiful, and it doesn't show off, so it's very modest and it's really beautiful because of that. Now, if you guys were wondering, yes, my hand is a lot darker than my face because for the longest time I didn't drive with hand protection, so my hands have tanned way darker than my face. Because you can compare my hand to my neck. My hand is just really tan. I'm Asian, so I tan really fast, which I don't really like tanning. This is really pretty. I'm glad I have it. I can't necessarily say I'd recommend it full price, but for 30% off, I thought it was a good deal. I really enjoy it, so I do for 30% off. If you see it, and Clinique does do 30% off very often, then you should pick your hand. I wish they made more shades of these. Alright, next is going to be the Pat McGrath highlighters. So I have two shades here. I have the limited edition one, which is more of like that baked formula, and then I have kind of a standard, and then I have the limited edition baked one, which is a pale gold. I love both of these to death, but I definitely like this one way more just because I can wear it with more things. The Lunar one, I have to be wearing a pretty like dark blush or something in order for this to not kind of have a cast. It's a little bit slightly too dark for me to wear, but the baked formula of highlighter from Pat McGrath is beautiful. I do have the rose one, but I haven't had a reason to wear it yet, which is why it's not here, but I'm sure I'd imagine I'd really like it. I'm really excited to hopefully, if I have budget, I do really want to get her new pressed highlighters. I love the one in the face trio, so I do fully expect to like the singles, but in the meantime, these two baked ones are gorgeous. I really am sad that I never got the OG like screw top baked highlighter because I would have loved to have it to complete my collection, but I definitely am going to be a Pat McGrath holiday highlighter collector from now on, whether for better or for worse. Alright, and then next is going to be the, well, I'm going to save the best for last because you guys are not ready for the last ones, but second to last is going to be the Charlotte Tilbury glow wands. I got Pillow Talk and Pinkgasm. Pillow Talk is supposedly limited edition, so I like jumped on it real quick when it was in stock, and then Pinkgasm is kind of the one that keeps going viral. They're okay. They do look really pretty on the skin, but the application method and the fact that it's kind of a liquid makes me kind of like, I don't use it as often as I should. I guess I'm just not a liquid highlighter girl. I thought I was. I always wanted to. My fantasy self does liquid blushes and liquid highlighter and cream blushes and cream highlighter, but in real life I end up not doing that. So I don't use these as often as I wish I would. I don't necessarily regret having them because I do think they are so pretty, and on the occasions I do use them, I love them, but should you get them? That's up to you, because I don't want you to be out 40 bucks and regret it. So that's up to you. I don't think I needed to get both, I will say that. I kind of got FOMO for Pillow Talk. So should you get these? That's going to be up to you, what products you use, what formulas you prefer, and don't fall for the trap of your fantasy self, because there's a reason your fantasy self is a fantasy. It's not real. I said the best for last. Surprise, surprise, it's Flower Nose, the Angel highlighters, Revelation. This is the perfect highlighter shade. This is like, this kind of like overtook the Clio Gold Sheer. This is perfect. It's like it's kind of like that baked-ish formula. Here's what it looks like. It's super shiny, but I gotta show you once you rub it onto your hand. So I'm gonna rub it on my palm here. Do you see how it just suddenly softens so that you can see how shiny it is, but it's so soft at the same time. It also has this translucent watery effect to it where if you put it on, you can still see completely what cheek color is underneath. Now I'm not wearing this today, but I will put some on just to show you. So I love using my finger, and I'm gonna put some on. And do you see like how that changes how my face looks? It's so pretty. It's so shiny, but it's so soft at the same time. And it doesn't cover up what's underneath because it has a very like see-through kind of translucency to it. Very, very Chinese for sure. Definitely not something the American market I feel has at all. This is so good. And if there was, aside from the setting powder, what color cosmetics should you get from Flower Nose? Highlighters. They're highlighters. And then here's the other shade I have from them, which is more of like a white blue. You can see this one's a little bit more blue and sparkly, but at the same time it still is, you can really see with the blue how translucent and watery it feels. Unlike anything I've ever seen. Absolutely worth it. I really wish I had not missed out on the on the Cupid shade, which is long gone and I don't think will ever come back. I'm very sad. But you should, yeah, just, God. These are some of the best highlighters I've ever tried, period. I would even confidently say these are some of the best highlighters in the world. You really should get your hands on these and don't miss, like, these are permanent as far as I can tell. So if you had one thing you were gonna get from Flower Nose, you really should get these highlighters. Like, you really should get these highlighters. Don't miss out. Totally, you are not gonna look back. You're not gonna regret it. I can wholeheartedly recommend these, even for the price. They're just so good. All right, I'm gonna get out my blushes. So I don't have as many new blushes as I thought I would. I think what happened is the reason I have so many blushes is because with blushes, if I find a formula I like, I will get pretty much every single shade in the range. So I don't have that many brands, but I do have a lot of products because I'll have certain brands where I have literally every single shade, like my Cheek Pops, for instance. So first off, I'm going to talk about, speaking of Cheek Pops, this is the Cheek Pop Pearl. So these are the shiny version and they're actually super pretty. I actually really like these. These are also a little bit more pigmented than the normal Cheek Pops. So I think if you're alright with it being a little bit more glowy than the normal Cheek Pop formula, honestly, these are like way better. And I hope that they release more shades because like these are really good. I would hope. Like, they only have like maybe like 4 or 5 shades, so I don't know if they're like abandoning the line or if they're gonna make more, but I really hope they do. These are really good. And then next is going to be the KALEIDOS Mono Blush. I am holding up the shade Joyride. The only downside is, as you can see, I had to write the shade name here. But this is kind of the most bronzy of them, but I have done a video where I put all of them on my face and I have used them in a couple of videos. These are really great true matte blushes and they're not as pigmented as they look in the pan, so they're very easy to blend, especially with a loose blush. These are really pretty and they're not too expensive and the packaging is super fun. It's squishy with like a really gothic kind of lace. So yeah, I really like these. I've been using them very well and I do have all 5 shades. Another one that I really wish was more accessible is going to be the Too Faced Love Flush Watercolor Blush. I have the shade California Love. After Judy talked about these, I searched high and low. I ended up having to get the majority of the shades off eBay, and now I have 5 shades and these are so good. They have a very slight glow to them, but it's not as glowy as the Cheek Pops, and especially California Love has got to be my favorite shade. This is the perfect beige blush, and I used to hate like American style beige blushes and I still don't really like those, but this has like a drop of pastel to it. Really, there was a time in Korea where literally every single brand was releasing mute beige blushes in various ranges of undertones, and this is like kind of an encapsulation of that. It kind of reminds me of that trend. Love it. The only reason I didn't get more Korean blushes from like that heyday, I had a ton on my wish list, but I never ended up getting them really just because of money. But yeah, I'm really glad I have this. I use this a lot more than I thought I would. The other shades are also really good, but California Love is my most used for sure. And then I'm just gonna go down the line of what's like sprawled out on my desk. I have the Etude House Dewy Blusher in Sleepy Tiger. These are matte. I don't know why they're called Dewy blushers. These are matte blushes, but this shade here is so unique. It's so, I've used it before on camera. It is so unique and so special, and I love that I have it. Very matte, very lightly pigmented, so it's impossible to overdo. Blends out super well, almost has a blurring effect, which a lot of Korean matte blushes do, and I love it. So I'm very glad I have this. I don't know if this is still available, but if it is, you should definitely get your hands on it. There is an orange one too, so that one's a little less unique, but the Sleepy Tiger is a shade I've really never seen before, and I don't have any shade like it in my collection. Alright, next I'm going to talk about these Pat McGrath blushes. I hate how much I like these, because now I want more and they're never going to be as cheap as when I got them because I got them during the glitch. These are really good. These kind of remind me of having a glow level similar to that of the Too Faced ones, but it's a little bit more pigmented. It's even silkier, even easier to blend. Everything about it is like a superior version of the Too Faced one, which obviously because of the price difference. These are incredible, and I find the range of colors she has to be limiting, which is why I never ended up buying them until they were half off, in which case I got a set of 3, so my mom took one and then I kept the other 2. These are an amazing formula. I am kind of mad at myself that I tried them because they're expensive, but they're really good. Next is going to be Kylie's new pressed blush powder. I know this might come as a shock because I'm like not really into celebrities, but the color of this was just something I could not escape. It's such a beautiful pastel orange without being too milky. When I first saw the colors of the lineup of Kylie's blushes, I was like, did she just like copy and paste from Korea? Because that's what it felt like to me. So this is a really actually super pretty shade. The other shade I have from her is like a baby pastel pink. Again, super Asian feeling. So of course I bought them and they're really good actually. So I like them. I don't think I'm gonna get anything else from her line ever again. It's literally just those two blushes, but they're really good for some reason. Is this one? See? Do you see? Yeah, I don't know. These are like abnormally good products, which like is weird coming from her line. So yeah, I'm like happy I have these two, but I don't think I'm ever gonna buy from her brand ever again. And then next is gonna be the M Cosmetics Heaven's Glow Radiant Veil blushes. I have at this point, I think I have every single shade except the darker neutral one, which is too dark for me to really have any appeal for. I also don't have Faded Clementine because it was too bronzy for me, but I do have every single other shade. These are amazing. Now they are very shimmery because they're baked, they're very radiant, so if you're not into that, you're not gonna like these, but I don't find that they emphasize skin texture very much at all. They're so easy to blend and they're just so great. These look best with light makeup, which is kind of M's Cosmetics whole aesthetic. So if I have like minimal eyeshadow, I just go ham on the blush. I even have like sheer foundation is when this really, really shines. So if you're that kind of person where like you just don't want much makeup, but you want your blush to be the point of the look, then you really should definitely consider getting these. These are so pretty, and I will say, formula speaking, finish wise speaking, these are really unique shades, and the finish and the formula of this as a whole, the product, is also really unique. Like I don't actually really think I can think of any other brands that are even remotely similar to this, which is kind of crazy actually. And speaking of radiant blushes with a formula that has no other equivalent, I have talked about this before, but the JACLYN Luminous Rouge blushes, God, I wish you would make more shades of these. These are so unique, so special. Nothing like it in my collection. These are really, really nice. And if you don't mind using loose blushes, you really should look into this. The radiance is just like none other. It's very different radiance from this. You can't compare the two, they're not the same. And the color range is also very different. I have 3 of the 4 shades. I don't have the darkest one because I like the 3 that I have, but these are just the uniqueness of them. The true innovation of this formula is like just nothing else. It really is truly something special, which is, and again, it's another one of the reasons why I'm just like, whenever JACLYN makes a loose powder, I have to try it because for some reason they're really good. Okay, so I'm going to move on now to my cream and liquid blushes. So first off, I wanted to show this NYX Sweet Cheeks. These are really good, and for their drugstores, they're not that expensive. Now they are. A drugstore definitely has been kind of price creeping us lately, especially NYX, but NYX does do sales. These are like really good, and so I've definitely said it before, I cannot do emollient, creamy, hydrating, dewy blushes. They just eat my foundation. My foundation disappears. I've never been able to make it work. Matte is where it's at for me when it comes to cream and liquid products, and these are so pretty. They definitely remind me exactly of the 3CE Velvet liquid blushes, but of course, as you can see, the colors are far more intense. You need like this much and you've got it covered. These are so easy to use, so beautiful. I do wholeheartedly recommend these, especially because of the price. Next, I want to talk about the JACLYN blush sticks. You can see here I have the shade Royal Flush, really pretty. These again are kind of that more matte formula, more cream to powder-esque. Really, really nice. I really like these. I do have all 4 shades of this and I'm very happy that I do. One of the best products that she's ever released. Her blush collection honestly was really great. I didn't like the blush palettes, but that was more of a personal preference. They are objectively good, but they weren't suiting to me. But the blush sticks, I have all 4. Really love these. Really pretty. So yes, I do really like these. And they seem to go on sale pretty often, so like you could totally save money and not have to pay full price for these. Next, I want to talk about the Phytosurgeon's Cream Blush. I have the shade here, Inferno. Now, to note, if you don't use it super often, it is going to kind of collect some of the like emollients. It's going to kind of collect at the top. It's not mold. Your product is fine. If you rub your finger in it, you can see it's completely fine. Now, this is kind of about as dewy as I'm willing to get. You can see here on my finger, or on my palm of my hand, how it is pretty. It is somewhat radiant, but it still doesn't eat my foundation, blends out really well, really pretty. And then lastly, I do want to bring up the SheGlam Color Bloom liquid blushes. People had been talking about these for a while and they're very cheap. These again have more of a matte finish. They're less moussey and more liquid compared to the NYX ones, but they do have a matte kind of dry down. They give you plenty of time to work with. They're not too terribly pigmented. If you're looking for an uber cheap liquid blush, these are really great. I don't really buy from SheGlam. This and the contour are really the only 2 products I have from them, just because the curiosity finally got the better of me and I had to get some slippers for my dad, so I had to meet free shipping anyways. But I don't really buy from SheGlam, but if you want to, then the liquid blushes are actually like super good. Some of them do have a little bit of shine to them, but it's honestly super natural, very pretty, and it doesn't feel like glitters or anything. So for the price, these are like super awesome. It's just, you know, do what you will with SheGlam as a brand. I don't buy from them. I really only have these because my curiosity got the better of me. Okay, so for finally at the end for new blushes, so I'm gonna move on to bronzers and contours, and then finally we can move on to lips. Okay, so thankfully I don't have too many bronzers and contours. I'm honestly super picky about them. The bronzer kind of deluge that happened this summer definitely has me interested in a lot of things. I just don't have money, but I do want things, but I don't have money. So I'm just gonna talk about like a handful of things. I don't really have too many, so I'm gonna kind of start off with the one that I think is like meh, it's okay. I don't actually think you can get it anymore, but it's gonna be the hot cocoa one. I got this mostly because of Teresa is Dead, and she's right, this really only works if you have like your skin is like the color of paper white. It works for me as like it's barely there, so it's really great for like I can't overdo it, I'm not gonna make a mistake, the rest of my makeup is really light, and I don't want to be overpowering my face with contour. It's really good for that, and it does have a really pleasant hot cocoa fragrance, but it's alright. I got it on sale for like $19, so I don't really regret it, and honestly it's super cute, so I mostly have it because it's cute, but as a bronzer it's like meh. Another thing that I thought I would like more than I ended up liking it is going to be the MAC Mineralized Skin Finish and Cheeky Bronze. It's just too glittery. There's too much glitter in this for me to be using it on the sides of my face. I use this as like a bronzer for really when I want just the warmth, like my eye look is warm, it needs more warmth. I definitely will use this as a true bronzer, but it is a little too glittery for me, so I don't end up using it as often as I thought I would. I saw Pony use it, and that's why I got it, because I'm a clown, but yeah, there's a little too many glitter particles in it for me. And next, my holy grail of all contours is the Hollywood Contour Wand. And I feel like there's not much product in here. Like, it feels like there's really not that much. There's 12 mils, but somehow I feel like there's not much because like it's already so squeezed. This is just absurdly good. I think I have said everything that I could have said in all the videos I've used this in. Every single time I use this on camera, I talk about how good it is. So if you don't know how good it is, it's really, 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 really good. I've had people leave comments telling me, oh, I own it already. It is really good. Like, this is actually really good, and it's like not ever in stock. So if you happen to see it in stock, you really should just probably get your hands on it. Next, I'm going to talk about the M Cosmetics stick in Terra. This is kind of like a less gray, more flattering version of Fenty Amber. It is truly so soft. The name is not lying to you. Barely any pressure, and you get full pigment, blends out like a dream, and dries down nice and natural, not tacky, not sticky, not emollient, so it doesn't eat my foundation. She does make a blush formula in the So Soft range as well, but I just really don't use stick blushes. Like, I just don't. So I had Lychee, but I got rid of it. I do know she has a range of powder bronzers now, but I have no interest because I don't think I like any of the colors. Yeah, this stick, however, in Terra, if she had just made a powder version of Terra, I honestly would have bought it. And then similarly, there's the SheGlam Sun Sculpt Liquid Bronzer in Soft Tan. This is honestly straight gray. This is like liquid amber is what it feels like. Like Fenty Amber but liquid is what this feels like to me, so buy with caution. But it does blend out really nicely. It has the exact same easy to use formula as the liquid blushes. It's a little bit more liquid than the contour one, but honestly it blends out almost as well. Finish is super pretty, so for, I think it's like what, $4.50, $5. So this is honestly super great. I don't want to lie and say I don't have it. I do have it. It is good. And then next is going to be Hoola Glow. I got this somewhat recently. I love this. This is not the same color as Hoola, which is super, super warm, so I rarely if ever use Hoola now that I've discovered other options. This is far more neutral colored, and I love it to pieces. And even though it says glow, it's really not that glowy. It's like slightly less glowy than a cheek pop, so as a bronzer it is so pretty. I definitely think Hoola Glow is like better than Hoola in literally every single way. And if you guys are like, oh, I don't like Hoola, but is Glow any good? Yes, Hoola Glow is vastly superior. I do have a couple shades of JACLYN's lip liners. They are super solid. I think this is one of the best lip liners I've ever tried. Honestly, it's like really good. I did also try the Buxom Plump Line lip liners, the power one that replaces the old ones, and the shade I got first off was too light, but second off, I did feel like it was kind of dry compared to the OG Plump Line ones, so those are just like a no from me. But the JACLYN ones are super good as long as you don't mind sharpening. Okay, so again with my lip products, I tend to do the same thing as I do with my blushes. If I find a formula I like, I will collect every single shade. So as you guys know, I'm a stan for Romand and I simp for their lip products. The two that I got from Romand are going to be their most recent releases, and that's going to be the Dewy Full Water Tint and the Blur Fudge Tint. These both are amazing. Enough said. Highly recommend. Perfect, beautiful, wonderful, amazing, excellent, the best in the game. I am wearing the Blur Fudge Tint in Rosiential right now. I am so glad I finally got my hands on this shade. This shade sold out everywhere and it took forever for me to get my hands on it, and I think just looking at it on my lips, you can see why it's so popular. The Dewy Full Water Tint I think is the ultimate peak of Korean water tints. I don't think it can get, I just don't see how it can get better than this. This truly is the epitome of water tint in Korea. The applicator is amazing. These both are so good, and you can get them for under 12 bucks each, sometimes even as low as $7 each. And for what you get, it's just incredible that they are this good. So yeah. Next, I want to talk about the Lunar Beauty lip gloss. This is actually a super good lip gloss. It is not sticky at all, which is insane to me, and it just feels like such a nice balmy feel, very moisturizing. The shimmers in it are super light and subtle. This honestly reads as basically just like a clear lip gloss with like a slight blush of color, but it's so pretty. I love using this to top a matte lip or just wear it on its own throughout the day to keep my lips hydrated. Super, super pretty, and the packaging is so nice. I did get these as a glitch. They were only like $5 each, so oopsie poopsie, but thoroughly enjoy the ones I have, and I do think this is one of the best gloss formulas that I have tried personally. So, and then next I'm going to talk about the NYX This Is Juice glosses. Now these are similar. They're not sticky. They're more kind of balmy feeling, and these are that perfect popsicle kind of trend where like it's like that popsicle fruity gloss. It is a lot more sheer than it looks in the tube. Do beware of that. It's actually a lot more sheer than you think it is. So from NYX, this is a really good winner. Next, while we're talking about glosses, I did get the Rare Beauty Nearly Rose lip balm thing. It was half off at Sephora and JCPenney, so I got it. It's a little bit, I feel, too cool toned for me, but the formula itself is super good. It definitely just feels like a liquefied balm. Has a similar feel to NYX and Lunar Beauty, non-sticky, hydrating. Definitely you can see kind of a trend of where glosses have been going lately, so this is another solid addition to the line. So I really enjoyed this. And then I'm going to talk about, let me talk about this really quick. This is the ColourPop Peeps Glowing Lip Balm. This is totally different from the Hello Kitty ones. It's nowhere even near the same. The lipsticks from Hello Kitty, the glowing lipsticks from here, I had been saying in that video where I used them, where I hoped they would release more shades in this formula, make it a full range. They kind of did, and they made these, but these are just nowhere near as good. I'm very disappointed. I can hardly see the color. They're not glowy at all. These are so much more balmy, so much more pigmented, so much more special. They almost feel like the YSL ones, for crying out loud, and these just basically suck. So I was so disappointed and so let down, so I'm not going to be buying those anymore. Speaking of, this is the YSL Rouge Shine. I only have one shade. I wish I had more, but they're very expensive, and I hope to get more maybe during their like buy one get one free sale they do once a year. I'll probably pick up more. So this is the one shade I do have. This is such a beautiful, slightly more than tinted lip balm. It's so balmy, so refreshing, perfect for that juicy cherry popsicle lip look, but it is definitely way more pigmented. YSL, I think, just make really solid lip products. They are super expensive, but you do actually get what you pay for. I do think YSL products are by and large actually worth the money, which is so crazy for me to say, but yeah, I really like this. One of my favorites. My mom wants one, but she doesn't want to have to pay full price, so I think when they do buy one get one, I'll get one for her. But yeah, they're really good. And then the Pat McGrath Divinal Lip Shine, I got this again during the glitch. I got a nude one for my mom, and then I got Temptress for me. I will say my mom loves this. Like, my mom uses this every single day. She also uses the Pat McGrath blush every single day, so like mom approved, which is like a super big deal, and she loves Pat McGrath now, but she doesn't, but because I spoiled her with the glitch, she doesn't want to pay full price for them because, you know, Asians. But this is super good. It's more pigmented than the YSL one, so it's far more punchy, but again, super pretty finish. I love this, and I love the price point I got it at. I don't know if I get it like 30% off, but yeah, I really like this. Just bear in mind the context around which I got these products. I paid full price for basically none of these, just kind of for some context. So do keep that in mind. Next is gonna be the YSL lipsticks. I have the Slim Glow and I have the Slim Radical. The Slim Glow I don't think is as good. Honestly, it's like, it just feels like a standard lipstick. It has the finish of a standard cream lipstick, but without the hydration because it's matte. So it just kind of feels redundant to me. Slim Radical is superior in every single way. I only have 2 shades in the Slim Radical, and I wish I had more, but they weren't, these are not the, when they do buy one get one, Slim Radical was so new, of course it's excluded. So I had to get these 20% off at Sephora, and they're, you know, they're really expensive, but Slim Glow is fine, I just don't think it's as good, and I do believe these probably are going to get discontinued in the wake of Slim Radical, because YSL loves to bring in new and then discontinue old lip products like nobody's business, which pisses me off because I'm like trying to get my hands on some of the ranges, and there's some shades that I'm chasing down that I feel I'll never get, which is so maddening to me. And then just while we're on the YSL train, the YSL Tatouage Couture Matte Lip Stain is the best matte lip product that YSL has to offer. Again, I don't really find it matte, but what makes this stand out so much to me, because the formula honestly feels similar to Korean formulas, it's just more liquid and thin. And it's not drying at all, by the way. It really is such a solid formula, but what really makes this special is the applicator. The applicator of this is insane. It is so, so good. Like, you have to try it to believe it, but the applicator is bonkers. It really lets you apply your lipstick perfectly. It lets you blend and smudge and smooth, and it doesn't really apply too much. Like, you can wipe off just a little bit and it has the perfect amount, and the applicator has the perfect amount of give, that it's not uncomfortable to use, but it's firm so that it really pulls the product around and moves it and blends it and stuff. It's so hard for me to describe, but the YSL has amazing applicators on their liquid products, and that honestly to me is like half the battle right there, and that's one of the reasons I think they're so worth it. The applicators just can't be beat. And then my favorite YSL product of all time, and the one that I think they discontinued so I cannot get all the shades anymore and I'm pissed off to high heaven, is the YSL Water Stain. This and Romand, my dewy glossy tint dreams are complete. I just see no need to get anything else. Like, there's so many other Korean water tints out on the market from so many other brands that I thought about getting, but really between this and Romand, my life is complete. And I have 6 shades, and there's more that I wish I could have gotten my hands on, but I don't even think the product link exists on YSL's website anymore. They're no longer in store. Like, the display that holds them doesn't hold them anymore, and I'm like so mad because now I feel like I'm never gonna be able to finish the range of what I wanted ever, and I'm just gonna have to be happy with what I have, which is, how dare they ask me to do that? Why can't I be greedy and want more? But honestly, truly, this is one of my favorite lip products of all time, and it breaks my heart that there's like, I think there was one shade, it was like Dive into the Nude. That's like one of the shades that got away for me. Like, that's definitely gonna be one of the ones that got away from me. Okay, next is gonna be the MAC Powder Kiss Liquid Lip Color. This is totally like moussey Asian velvet formula, like the Asian mousse stain kind of a thing, totally that, but MAC. But the reason I like these so much is, you know, because technically speaking, the formula you can get cheaper from Korea, and you don't have to spend $21 on these, although I got all of them half off during like 10 days of glam, so I don't actually pay that much. But the reason I like these so much is because the colors, MAC has such a really just nice color sensibility, and the color styles of their lip products is super, super fun. And it's just, they make a lot of shades that Korean brands literally would never touch with a 10-foot pole. So all the shades I do have, honestly, the ones that I do have and I love the most are shades that I just would never ever, I feel like I'd never see a Korean brand make. So I just feel like, you know, for example, these 4 here are shades that you just don't really see in Korea super often, and so they're really special, and I get that in a fabulous formula. These are so great. The applicator is really nice too. I really like their luster glass ones, but they're really expensive, and I'm waiting for like, I only buy MAC lips half off because I'm cheap, so if it's not ever gone half off, I don't really have it, and it makes me sad because there's a lot of MAC stuff I want. I just, you know, maybe one day I'll have all that booty guru money, right? Maybe. Speaking of matte moussey formulas, another really good one is going to be from KALEIDOS, the lip clays. These are kind of bonkers. Like, it's kind of bonkers how good these are. These are like actually really, really good. Super matte. So they remind me of Blur Fudge, but they're a little, but Blur Fudge definitely has a much more thicker formula. This is much more whipped and smooth and spreads more readily, kind of to compare the two, but it's like very pigmented, very beautiful. Temptalia has been reviewing these very highly, and I couldn't agree more. I have 4 shades and I wish I had more. The packaging is so cute. The boxes you can get them in are so beautiful as well if you choose to. I currently use mine to store other things, which is why it's not here. And the colors, KALEIDOS colors, are so fun. They have some really soft, beautiful, rosy nudes that are just so pretty, and then they have really, really dark ones, and they even have like a blue one if you're into that, you know? So I love the lip clays. I think they really hit it out of the park. I hope they keep making more lip clay shades. I really want them to, especially the fun, vibrant, unique shades that you wouldn't see from anywhere else. So brands like KALEIDOS can really help to fill that gap in so that I have the formula I like in colors that I like. But speaking of fun colors, Mersey makes lip tints that are more moussey and stuff in some really fun colors. So I am gonna actually swatch this for you. This is I believe it's called the Mellow Tint, the Bite the Beat Mellow Tint. and it is actually super, here I'll show you. Actually, like this is it's like a purple. really cool. Some people on YouTube say that these are like a formula dupe for the Giorgio Armani Lip Maestros. I don't know if that's true because I've never tried one of those. I kind of wish I could, but they're so expensive. However, I will say it is not matte. This is really not matte. It's honestly pretty shiny. It feels more like a Love Me liquid lip color than anything. But the biggest thing for me is that these are messy. They get everywhere. They're really hard to control. They slip and slide around. They don't set down, and they're super messy. I feel like every time I use this, my lips look like a mess, and I have so much cleanup. It's so difficult for me to keep it where I want it. So it is really hard to use. That is probably my biggest complaint about these, is that I wish I could love them, but they are not easy to use at all for me. Mersey does have some really unique colors. I just wish I could get more, but I just can't jive with the formula. So, but I wish it was a yes. And then lastly, my most recent pickup of lip products is going to be the Fresh O2 and Pony collection. I have two shades. I have Rose Tea, and then I have Red Velvet Cupcake, which is more red. These are actually really super nice. It's more of like it's kind of more on the matte side of cream lipstick, and it's much more thinner. It really feels like you have nothing on your lips at all. Super great formula. A much better formula than the concealer palette for sure. And they're really not that expensive. The shipping is like one thing, of course, but like just by itself, I believe it's like, you know, like somewhere in the range of like $9 to $12. So I'll swatch this one for you because it is so new. So here it is on my hand. Do you see what a perfect rose? It kind of is a similar shade to Rosiential, so I think you guys can see why I like it so much, but this is such a pretty color. I love how this looks on me. I do really like the formula, and the packaging is absolutely adorable. Cottagecore tea time picnic, of course, for days. So I'm very happy with this purchase, and I wish I had gotten the other two instead of the concealer palette. That concealer palette breaks my heart, man. That's it. That's the video. That's gonna be it. That's gonna be the makeup that I have tried for the past about 6 to 8 months. I think from now on, I should probably do these every trimester. I did not mean for this video to spiral out of control like that. I thought I had enough for like a 30-minute video, and this is looking closer to like an hour. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, listening to mini reviews of everything that I have tried. If you have any questions about anything you've seen me use that wasn't mentioned here or whatever, please feel free to ask. There's a chance I may not have it anymore, or there's a chance I just straight up forgot to include it. So yeah, in the meantime, that's gonna be it for this monster video. I hope, for those of you who actually watched it to the end, leave a cat emoji so I know, and then I'll congratulate you with like my heartfelt thanks. That's what I have to offer. Leave a cat emoji if you watched it to the end. And in the meantime, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye!